When we think about CFOs, in a traditional sense, they've been the bean counter, really sitting behind the numbers. Now CFOs have to come out in front of the numbers and need to be able to tell the story, not just to their CEO, but they need to be sitting at the boardroom table and they need to be communicating the story to all of their employees.
I guess with the mid-market, the biggest challenge is there's no real organisational hierarchy. So everybody is involved in every decision. You've got to be talking to everybody from the organisation right down to the bottom. I've been in larger organisations before where the finance teams are pretty much remote from some of the day-to-day activities, whereas when you're a CFO in a big market firm, you've got to be right down there in the weeds. You've also got to be able to step back and operate more at the board level as well, because a typical role for a CFO in a big market organisation could also be a corporate secretary as well. So you're not just focusing on the financial side, you're also then stepping back into the board role and making sure the board functions as well.
A CEO, for example, might have an expansive view of what's going on in the marketplace. The CFO often has a more analytic view of what's going on inside the company and the way in which the different elements of that are working and operating, but may also have an analytic or different analytic view of the marketplace and what's going there from say, and the Chief Marketing Officer will have a fundamentally different view as well. It's really important for that analytic view and for that understanding of what will drive the return on the value, the return on the investments, so that they can take that through to the next levels.
When you look at a CFO, they come from a background where they get to see the whole organisation. They see the transactions, how the mission is turned into the dollars and cents in the business. So they have a great technical understanding. And there's generally a lot of complexity there, but we can't spend our time discussing the complexity. We have to set the direction and make sure the ship sails in that direction.
One of the issues that CFOs who work for multinational subsidiaries in Australia face really is the ability to interpret what's going on at global head office and the strategy that's set out in London or New York or wherever it happens to be, and is then translated through a regional head office, which is typically in Hong Kong or Singapore, and then making sense of that in Australia and interpreting and explaining that strategy through to a whole range of stakeholders. And those stakeholders may be staff, they may be clients and customers, they might be politicians, regulators, etc.
CFOs really need to play a lead role. They need to be the change that they expect to see in their organisation. I think CFOs actually have to challenge themselves and step outside of their comfort zone. Again, standing still is not an option. So they need to be working across multiple stakeholders. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's business critical.